I was scrolling Instagram the other day and I came across a weight loss coach who was sharing success stories. I noticed something about the people in the comments. They were saying things like, I've tried everything, I've failed so many times, I don't think this is going to work for me. That these women are looking at these success stories and thinking that all their past failures mean they're not going to ever have success because they failed so many times. And I fell into that category. I thought the same thing. I was convinced that if you fail enough times, it just means that it's not going to work for you. But luckily, that's not true. And in fact, if you try to do a puzzle without the main picture, you're never going to solve it because you don't have a guide. The more that you understand how your body and your brain work together, the clearer the path is going to be to permanent weight loss success. My name is Dara Thomason, and this is episode 236, How Weight Loss is Not What You Think. What has been your weight loss experience? If you were to write a news article and say, woman lost weight 20 times and gained it all back, what would be the headline? What would be the summary of your weight loss experience? I've been sharing about my experience of putting weight on because of my fear of attracting men because of my parents' divorce and some of the past abuse that I experienced. And I didn't have the tools to know what to do. The more that I learned about my emotional needs, the more I didn't need to turn to food to try to mimic those emotional needs. And the more I understood how my brain and body work together and how my brain always is looking for danger 5 times more than safety, then of course that's going to make so much sense that weight loss is going to be a difficulty, especially if you use traditional weight loss strategies, counting calories and tracking steps. One of the things that I hear my clients say a lot is they keep saying, I have to lose weight. I have to lose weight for my health. Of course, we want to be healthy. But if we say, I have to, I need to, the next step is I need to lose weight so that I can feel better. There's a big difference. Words make a difference. When you think about linguistics or how different words resonate with you, they actually so words make a big difference. Your thoughts are what create your emotions. So if you say, I need to lose weight so I can be better, what emotion does that bring? Fear, scarcity, worry, versus I want to lose weight so I can feel better. That's hope, that's desire, that's commitment. You can see the difference. Your emotions are what fuel your actions. If you are fueled by anxiety, worry, and fear versus hope, commitment, and endurance, that's going to make a big shift. One of the biggest challenges overarching all of this is that so many of us believe that if we don't look a certain way, then we are not worthy. And that's a big lie. If we never feel like we're worthy and we're always trying to prove ourselves, it's like we're on that hedonic treadmill and always thinking, in order for me to feel better, I need to do this, this, and this. Kristen Neff, I've been working with her compassion as I have really looked at the work that needs to happen for healing with weight loss. She said, self-esteem is a global evaluation of self-worth. It's a judgment. Am I a good person or a bad person? In our culture, to have high self-esteem, you have to feel special and above average. But self-compassion is different. Self-compassion is not about judging yourself positively. It's about relating to yourself kindly. It's about embracing yourself as you are, flaws and all. Self-esteem says, I'll be worthy when I reach my goal weight. Self-compassion says, I'm worthy right now and I can want to care for my body. Self-esteem is contingent on success. You only feel good about yourself when you succeed. But what happens when you fail? You feel lousy. You feel terrible about yourself. Self-compassion is there for you precisely when you fail. Just when self-esteem deserts you, self-compassion steps in and gives you a sense of being valuable. not because you've reached some standard, but because you are a human being worthy of love in that moment. Your worth as a human has already been decided. You don't need to lose weight. You already matter. But here's what I also want you to know. You can want things for yourself. You can want more energy. You can want to stop shaming yourself. You can want to feel better in your body. And those wants matter because you matter. This is what Stephen Tresiak means when he talks about compassion as power. Compassion isn't about domination or intimidation or forcing yourself into submission. It's not even about compromise. Compassion is about collaboration. It's about you and your body working together. It's about asking, what serves me? What do I need? How can I take better care of myself? When you shift from I need to lose weight to be better to I want to care for myself because I already matter, entirely new options appear. You don't have to earn your right to care for yourself. You already have it. And as I work with women on really dissecting what weight loss is all about and helping them see through a new lens, this is where transformation happens. I want to share some examples of women inside my program. So as I'm sharing these examples, I want you to think about your own life experience and how has your struggle with weight impacted your quality of life. One of my clients I've been working with for several years has gone up and down in her weight. And I recently asked her this question. I said, if I never coached you ever again on weight loss, what would we have to deal with? This was a really interesting question to her. And she took a step back and thought, I would have to work on my marriage. If she can distract herself with circling around her body and her weight, it's a way for her to try to control what's really going on. One of the reasons that she gains weight and goes back and forth with the yo-yo dieting is that she can distract herself from what's really going on. She knows this battle. She's very familiar with, I eat food, food can be an enemy, I can lose some weight, and then I put some weight back on. It's a very familiar battle. She doesn't have a lot of surprises. Whereas if she just allowed herself to feel those feelings and work through it and then had the discomfort of, oh, this is now my new body. Some of the women that I work with worry. I've worked with them on, my husband doesn't like it when other men make comments about their body. These women actually keep weight on to keep the peace in their marriage. There's a lot of intricacies that we don't even realize that are happening, but because we stay distracted, we don't see what's really going on. I want to tell you a story about a type of dog called a Rhodesian Ridgeback. We had a Rhodesian Ridgeback and we loved him. Rhodesian Ridgebacks are a cross between a Great Dane and Pointer, a few other dogs. And basically they were bred to be in Africa to play mind games with lions. At that time, the hunters only had a certain length of scope. They had to get closer to the lion because of the gun's scope. They needed to get closer to the lion than they felt safe. They had to come up with some different strategies of how do we get closer to the lion without the lions coming and killing us. These Rhodesian Ridgebacks are very, very smart. And they were able to keep these lions at bay and distract them so the hunters could get closer so that they could shoot the lions. The reason I tell this story is that how often do we do that with weight loss? How often do we do that with our body? How often do we keep the weight on so that we don't have to deal with the difficulties? One of the challenges that we don't hear very much about is how often women are afraid to lose weight because that will attract attention, male attention. And having been abused myself, attracting male gaze and attention is sometimes very uncomfortable. In the 5 years that I've been coaching women on weight loss, I am saddened and also humbled by how many women who have been abused have come to me and finally, for the first time in 40 years, 20 years, 30 years, felt safe enough to share about their being physically assaulted, sexually assaulted in their teens, as children. When they keep the extra weight on, it doesn't attract that attention. And the reason I share this is that we can look through Instagram and see all these before and after pictures and say, oh, I wish I could have that body. I wish I could not carry around this 50, 60, 70 pounds, 80 pounds, 100 pounds. It's exhausting. It's exhausting on my knees. It's exhausting on my heart. I know it's not good for me. But if you don't know how to feel safe in your body, it actually feels safer to have a heavier body with all of those challenges, but not have those eyes on you and at that risk. When Kristen Neff talks about self-esteem versus self-compassion, they are finding research that there are more bullies and more narcissists that come out of this whole self-esteem movement. And one of the challenges we see with women in weight loss is if you don't look a certain way, if you don't feel safe being thin, then that is for sure you're never going to be successful. Because the rules of society say in order for you to be good enough is you have to look good enough. Now you're never going to feel that way. I want to challenge you to believe two things. One is that your worth as a human. There's a wonderful quote that said, you came to earth not to prove your worthiness, you came with it. And so that your worth is already set as a human. So regardless of how much you weigh, what kind of house you have, what kind of car you drive, how big your fabric stash, or how many ribbons you've won, none of those things matter. None of those things impact your worth. That's the first thing I need you. And if that's the only thing that you ever take from me, I really hope that you can put that into your heart. The second thing that I really want to help you with is self-compassion. As I work with women and do my own personal coaching, I have seen the power of compassion in my own life as I've had to heal my own wounds of sexual, physical, and emotional abuse. Help myself with compassion and rewire the ways that I think about myself and how I can problem solve. I can actually see that the way that I have been thinking and punishing myself does not help at all. And the more self-compassion and the more understanding and the more kindness, the more unconditional love that I have given to myself, the more I can lose weight and keep it off. I want to be the grandma that can do all the things. I want to have longevity. I want to have this really strong body as I age. And I've watched both my parents with their struggles. My mom got a new hip and a new knee and just the amount of pain. My father with his dementia and, him falling and having so many issues. It is heartbreaking. And I want to feel safe to be in this body. I'm 6 feet tall. I have long blonde hair and I can sometimes attract attention, even at 52. But I want to feel safe in this body. The more that we can understand what's really going on, the more that we can create permanent change. I want to share one last thought before I say goodbye. Today, this episode is coming out on January 22nd. And we were taught, probably most of our lives, the all or nothing approach. That's the perfectionism approach. I was definitely a card-holding perfectionist. I've written the book 12-Step Perfectionist Recovery, and there's a free class that I'll link in the notes that you can take. This all or nothing approach is really detrimental because when you say, I'm going to start fresh, you don't get to collect the data of why you failed. Just like when you're learning any new skill, you're not going to get it right away. The more you can say, okay, what parts worked well for me, but what parts I haven't quite got yet? You can start banking the good things. You can be like, okay, I got that. That feels good. But then you can start dissecting what was the part that I start failing at. And then you can work towards those specific parts. And that's what we do inside my program. So if you're ready to put the sword down, if you're ready to stop trying to earn your worth and start caring for yourself from a place of already being worthy, I invite you to join me inside. This is where we learn that permanent weight loss doesn't come from proving you're good enough. It comes from knowing you already are and choosing to care for yourself anyway. So you're worthy of this investment in yourself. If you know what you should do, but you can't figure out why you keep falling short, it's the dilemma, isn't it? You have all the knowledge, you know the steps, but something keeps you from following through. That's exactly what we resolve in Love Yourself Thin, my lifetime membership for quilters and creatives, because you don't have a knowledge problem, you have a thinking problem, and that's what we're here to solve. When you join Love Yourself Thin, you get lifetime access to the tools to help you understand why you do what you do so you can finally create permanent weight loss. No more frustration, no more wondering what's wrong with you, just real transformation from the inside out. You can learn more and join at www.darathomason.com. This is where the real work happens. Can't wait to see you there.